Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beatles Forever. I'm once again continuing the Desert Island theme. I did a top 10 song list for Paul McCartney and Wings, and this time it'll be Paul and his solo career. It's going to be very difficult to pick just 10 songs out of his vast collection, but I will try to do it. Number 1, Heart of the Country. And this is from the Ram album released in 1971. This song I feel is Paul getting away from all the stress of the Beatles breakup. He had a farm in Scotland around that time in 1971. And Paul sounds happy in this song. He can get a good night's sleep out of the city and away from life's problems. In the middle part of the song, when he doesn't sing real words, he reminds me of Roger Miller, and you can't help but bop your head to his scatting and guitar playing. I like the lyrics. Want a horse? I got a sheep. I'm going to get me a good night's sleep. Living in a home in the heart of the country. This song feels like you're there with Paul out in the wide open spaces in the country. Next up, That Was Me. This is from the album Memory Almost Full, released in 2007. Paul states, "So all I had to do for this song was to think back, and immediately I go back to Liverpool, where there's a little place where we could escape to. Beautiful little woods there. Come springtime, there would be these carpets of bluebells. It was a magical place. There's something about me at the bus stop. That's a big part of my memories. Going to school, coming home from school, going to the pictures, going to your friend's house." This is one fantastic song. Paul takes a listener on a trip through his young life from his childhood in Liverpool to being in the cavern. The tune is catchy, and I love how it feels like the song is showing in pace how life goes by in a flash. Such a great song. Next up is Early Days. This song came from the album New in 2013. I love how this song starts out simply with Paul and his guitar. He is reminiscing about his early days when he and John were trying to get their music career going. And he is angry at the people who state that things that weren't correct. His lyrics state, "Now everybody seems to have their own opinion, who did this and who did that. But as for me, I don't see how they can remember when they weren't where it was at." So that's a really good jab at the people that really don't know what happened. Only Paul and John know about all that. And it would be irritating, I can imagine, for the people who don't know, good to go around telling things that aren't correct. Paul said that when he wrote this song, he had been reminiscing about the past in Liverpool with John Lennon. I started to get the images of us in a record shop listening to early rock and roll and looking at the posters and the joy that gave me remembering those moments. And Paul isn't afraid to hit the high notes, and it adds to the emotion as he's feeling. And then once more, I love how a song can tell about someone's past, and here we can go back with Paul going to the record store where he and John would go and listen to the early rock and roll records and look at the posters. I know I always loved going into the record stores when I was younger, and then you could go through the records looking for your favorite artist and enjoying the atmosphere in the store. It was fun every time. This is from the album New, released in 2013. When Linda died in 1998, Paul said that he cried for a year, and I can imagine it was really hard to lose someone you were with for 29 years. Paul remarried Heather Mills, but the relationship didn't last long. And Paul eventually met and married Nancy, his current wife. I can imagine this song was written for her. Paul had created a lively song with a great pop rhythm. I love the piano and horns, and Paul is happy, and you can feel it in this song. Paul can still do that falsetto, and he does it throughout the song. And it's a song that stays in your head after you hear it. Next is Coming Up. And this song came from the album McCartney 2, which was released in 1980. It's a song that's really different from songs that Paul had done before, and it has the synthesizers, and it's sort of considered new wave. And Paul told Rolling Stone, "I originally cut it on my farm in Scotland. I went into the studio each day and just started with a drum track. Then I built up a bit by bit without any idea of how the song was going to turn out. After laying down the drum track, I added guitars and bass, building up the backing track. Then I thought, well, what am I going to do for the voice? I was working with a varied speed machine in which you could speed up your voice or take it down a little bit. And that's how the voice sound came about." So John Lennon, he happened to hear Paul's song on the radio, and he really liked it. And he said Coming Up was a good piece of work. According to Paul McCartney, John Lennon was inspired by the song and it got John back to the studio. The song really moves, and it has so many different sounds in it. I love the groove of it, and Paul sounds so different in the song, but it works. In fact, the whole song works. It's unique. And the video for the song is unique too. Paul is performing as different people, and Linda is hanging in there with him. It's perfect. Next up is Take It Away. This song came from the album Tug of War, which was released in 1982. Ringo provides the drumming, and he's doing a fantastic job. I always loved this song, and it's my favorite song from the album. The video is wonderful too, with Paul, Ringo, George, Martin, and Linda, and even John Hurt as a manager looking for a band to bring to stardom. And he discovers Paul and Linda and gang playing on stage, and the rest is history. This song is smooth, and it really moves. The song reached the number 10 in the U.S. and number 15 in the U.K. People know a good song when they hear one, and this is it. Next up, Flaming Pie. This song came from the album Flaming Pie, which was released in 1997. Paul, George, and Ringo had been working on the Beatles anthology special, and it got Paul thinking about the early days of the Beatles, and even before the Beatles, when Paul and George were being friends before the group started up. Flaming Pie came from John when he was asked to explain how the Beatles got their name, and John said it came from a vision. A man appeared on a flaming pie and said unto them, "From this day on, you are the Beatles with an A," and so it was. And that was always the explanation when people ask us, well, why are you called the Beatles? He explained. And then Paul explained, and so I just thought, I'm the man on the flaming pie. I'll write a song about that. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and the character who is the man on the flaming pie, he's quite cool. He's quite mad, and anyone I mentioned it to just smiled, McCartney added. And this song has a rocking piano, which is equal with Paul's vocals. And the lyrics are a little bit out there, but that's just what Paul was going for. The song has rough edges and it grooves. Anytime there's a piano solo, I'm in. And the guitar is a little grittier than usual, so Paul is leaving his softer side with this song. I never get tired of hearing this one either. No More Lonely Nights. And this song comes from the album Give My Regards to Broad Street, released in 1984. The film might not have been that great, but the song is a great love song. I didn't realize it, but David Gilmour did the guitar solo for the song, so that makes it even more special. The song has the orchestra sound as well as a band sound, kind of like a ELO mix. It's a great ballad, and Paul sings it well. I like the dun 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 parts of the song, and it's great to sing along with. Next up, Here Today. This song came from the album Tug of War, released in 1982. I didn't know it at first that the song was written by Paul about John, and I didn't really get into the song at first, and then it grew on me. And it was even more special learning that this was a heartfelt song Paul wrote for John. Songfacts.com had a quote by Paul saying, "The truth of the matter is when John died, it was so weird for everyone, and obviously for those of us that were near to him, it was doubly, triply weird. And then there was the obvious sort of thing, is anyone going to write a song about John? Because obviously, certainly we all felt deeply enough, and normally when we all feel deeply enough, we committed to a song. And I was wondering if I was going to do it, but I thought, I'm not going to sit down and try to do it, but if anything comes, sometimes I'll do it. And one day I was just sitting quietly in this little room with my guitar, and these chords started coming out, and I started having these thoughts, as if I was talking to myself, to John, about our relationship and stuff. And obviously one of the things that had been funny for me was this idea of when the Beatles broke up and we became enemies for a time, but I knew we weren't, and I know for a fact that he knew we weren't too, because independently of each other, we talked nicely of each other, but there was a little pride thing of two men, a very difficult business and all that. So the song is a bit like the song Yesterday, stripped down version with a few instruments, like a classical song. And as Paul telling his innermost feelings about a friend who meant so much to him. So this song is a great one. And next is Find My Way from McCartney 3. I had bought the McCartney 3 album, which was released in 2020, and I didn't start listening to it again until recently. It's a great album. Leave it to Paul to create an album while he was on a farm, hiding out from the coronavirus. Paul has to stay productive, it seems like, but he had fun because he was layering his songs and just not thinking about it being work. According to the songfacts.com, the lyrics were, you never used to be afraid of days like these, but now you're overwhelmed by your anxieties. Let me help you out. Let me be your guide. I can help you reach the love you feel inside. And Paul explained to the son that the song explores the idea of trying to stay positive. He added that when he was a child, he loved uplifting songs, so he took that on board for this tune. In Find My Way, the me character is singing about he's confident he won't get lost at night, but he's also talking to the person filled with anxieties, Macca explained. So I suppose, in a way, I'm trying to encourage them to keep their head up and get through this thing. Paul was great for the Beatles because he always had that optimistic attitude, and that kept the band going near the end. And I feel like I've always been an optimist too, and I appreciate songs that are happy and look at things in a positive way. I guess that's why I like Paul so much. But this song is just a ray of sunshine. Paul states in the song that he goes toward the light, and you can't go wrong when you do that. I love how the song feels like you're riding down the road. There's so many sounds in the song, and it all fits. The drum keeps things going and the synthesizer sound. And this is Paul at his finest. All of these songs represent Paul at his best. He's always so melodic, so inspiring, and so talented. And I'm glad he got into the music business to bring us his special kind of music that will always be wonderful for us to listen to. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be wonderful. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do that, that would be great too. I hope everybody's been having a good day, and tune in again soon for more of the Beatles Forever. Thank you. Bye.